There we go. Whew, I was a little worried. Let's see if this works. Okay. Just wait for some people to come in. I see some people in there. Hey, guys, if you can hear me, please type into the comments that you can hear me. Hey, Kirk, let me know if you can hear me. Just want to be sure. I know you guys on Instagram can hear me, which is fabulous. Hey, Kirk, if you can. Okay. Sarah, you can hear. Awesome. 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 All right. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Welcome to the live. So, without further ado, hit me with some questions. You got me for an hour. Hit me with some questions. Go have a party. Is the webinar going up on the members site? No, we haven't planned for that yet, but that might be something we can discuss. What's the difference between a reverse and a reverse diet? Okay, what's the difference between a refeed and a recovery diet, or reverse diet, rather? So what I would say, or sorry, hang on, wrong one. So what's the difference between a refeed and recovery diet? So I would say the difference is that a refeed is usually a few days eating at maintenance or above during a fat loss phase where you're still overall in a deficit for the week. Whereas a reverse diet, you are consistently at maintenance or in a surplus. So whereas a refeed, even though for those days you were at maintenance or above that, overall during that week, you are still in a deficit. That's the difference. Kind of nice. Thank you, Jen. Why is carbon so awesome? Thank you so much. We appreciate that. This is a question we get a lot. Will we ever be able to adjust macros to exactly what we ate in the planner? So the reason we didn't do that, so in the planner, if you go to, so this is a question off Instagram. If you go to your calorie planner, you notice that you're only able to adjust the macros in proportion. The reason we did this, and there was a lot of discussion about this, the reason we did this was because at the end of the day, it is a nutrition coach. If we allow people to dictate to the app exactly what they want to eat, like I've had people say, well, it didn't give me the protein, carbs, fats I want. Well, then put in custom macros. If you're using the coach, then use the coach. If I was a coach, I would not be allowing my clients to change their carbs and fats up every single day. So, for example, even though your ratio of carbohydrate to fat doesn't seem to matter in terms of the amount of fat you can lose, it is important for your energy levels and overall compliance. If you're constantly fluctuating them up and down, it's not going to be optimal. And you can see that because, like, for example, if you're used to eating a little bit higher carbohydrate and then all of a sudden you challenge yourself with a lot of fat, you're not going to dispose of it as well because your body is adjusted to a specific rhythm of macronutrient intake. Now, I realize that sounds kind of bro science-y. There is some evidence for this, though. Like, for example, if you're on a ketogenic diet or a low-carb diet and you challenge with a high-carb meal, you will actually appear insulin impaired. So it's important to have consistency. And for that reason, since I would not allow as a coach, it is not allowed in the app. And that's why. You can adjust your calories so you can stay with your compliance. Because if you hit your protein and your calories, I still consider it compliant. Okay? But if you want to just dictate to the app what to do, it is no longer a coach. And you're not using it as such, and you're not using it appropriately. Is there a way to add meals to carbon similar to the quick add feature on MyFitnessPal? Yes, guys, you really need to play around with the settings. If you look in the settings, most of these questions are in the settings you can find in there. So if you go to settings, go to customize meals, and you can add meals. Our quick add feature on Carbon is actually different. It's where you can just, if you just knew the macros for a meal and don't want to go search for it, you can just punch in the macros and add the meal. Love the Carbon app. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. That's getting pinned. Hold on. I'm just trying to distribute questions here. Okay. One more off Instagram, and then I'm going to take a few off Facebook and YouTube. Would you ever think of implementing a free untracked meal or day off tracking? Sometimes life can't happen and we can't tell the macros for certain meals. Sure, click non-compliant. But like, here's what people ask me, can I have a cheat day? Sure. I'm not your mom. We're not your parents. If you want to have one, sure. But you need to be honest with yourself in terms of, if you have a cheat day and you are not accounting for that, is it possible you're going to gain body fat or slow down your progress? Absolutely. And maybe you decide that that's more important to you at that time, right? So maybe you decide, hey, my son's getting married and I'm going to have I'm going to enjoy the wedding. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But realize that if you eat a shitload of food, you probably will slow down your progress or gain some body fat. What I usually find is what people want me to do is retroactively validate what they're already doing. So they're having a big cheat day and they want me to tell them, hey, no, you can have a big cheat day. It's not going to stop your progress. I'm not going to tell you that because it's bullshit. That's just not true. So if you want to have a cheat day, that's fine. Have a cheat day, mark non-compliant on your check-in. Because here's what happens. If, let's say we allowed that and you said you're compliant, but you weren't, the app is going to estimate your energy expenditure to be lower than it really is, and it's not going to be able to do its job properly. So that's why we don't allow it. Let's see. All right. Are there any plans to, well, this is interesting. Are there any plans to include more recent foods in our list? Meaning if I've logged it before, it's just always there instead of having to rescan it. If it's a recent food, it should pop up pretty high up in your recents. If not, submit a ticket to support because it should be popping up in your recents. I love the app. For the first time in my life, I'm eating food I enjoy while losing weight. That's awesome. We get this a lot. What is the best way to track the additional calories while breastfeeding? I'm assuming you mean the increased energy expenditure. Well, here's the thing that I've observed with women who are breastfeeding. Yes, breastfeeding increases your endogenous energy expenditure. However, what are you doing when you're breastfeeding? You're sitting typically. You're sitting a lot because you're either breastfeeding or you're resting or you're pumping. So while your endogenous energy expenditure goes up, typically your actual like NEAT and energy expenditure from movement goes down. So it doesn't even matter. And here's why. Carbon operates off of estimating your total daily energy expenditure. So let's say you start breastfeeding and let's say your energy expenditure for the day does go up, that you go up like 300 calories or something. Well, in that case, you're going to lose more weight than is expected. And the app is going to compensate for that by increasing your energy intake. So you don't need to tell it you're breastfeeding. It will be able to, it doesn't matter what's increasing your energy expenditure. It is going to compensate anyway, regardless of what it is. Hey, Lane, I would like to thank you and your team for the incredible app. You're very welcome. We are really, we're trying to do our best. If I'm being honest, we're like completely overwhelmed right now. We're all working like basically all day, every day. Our development team, guys, you really have no idea how much work this development team put into this. Like soul crushing amounts of work has been put into this. So we're glad that you're really enjoying it. And we plan to make it even better. We've had so many signups that we're just trying to keep our heads above water. but it's good. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the app. That makes us very, very happy. And hey guys, if you're enjoying this live, can you give me some likes, give me some hearts? That helps us with It helps us with engagement, getting seen, showing up in people's feeds. So if you can hit us with some likes, some hearts, that sort of stuff, that'd be great. Megan says, this app is amazing. Love everything about it. Makes it so easy. Thank you so much. Somebody said all the soul crushing work shows it's truly great. Thank you very much. The app has been a savior during the lockdown. Does Carbon implement diet breaks when heading into more of a caloric deficit? Love the app. I have hypothyroidism, but the app is doing the trick. Awesome. So we do not prompt diet breaks. You can do diet breaks using Carbon because all you do is just click maintenance. So you put your calories to maintenance. The reason we decided not to prompt diet breaks is some people don't like diet breaks. It actually kind of throws them off their rhythm. And there's also no established best practice for diet breaks. So it's hard for us to really give a recommendation when there's no established best practice for that. It's kind of going to be our feels. But we're discussing right now coming up with coach suggestions for diet breaks. We're not going to make people do diet breaks because we don't think that that's wise, especially with no best practice established. But we are trying to figure out how to incorporate them. But you can do it yourself. Like I said, you just switch to maintenance. And as far as what I recommend, again, this isn't based on any empirical evidence. It's simply my feels. But I would say a 1 to 2 week diet break, eating at maintenance every 2 to 6 weeks of dieting, of caloric deficit. It's amazing how few bugs are in the app. Way to go, devs. Hey, we tested for so long. Oh my God. We tested, I would say overall the testing was nearly a year. And the app from what we started with to now, or to what we released, is so different. And it's so different from other companies I've been involved in. Just, we had so many people on this team who are just have such a Chris and Kevin, the developers, Keith, Holly, they all have such high attention to detail. We had so many arguments about details, but it made a difference. Any plans to add a streak feature? I find it kind of motivating to see how many days I've tracked. I really love the app so far, and I've been able to be compliant. That is something we are considering. Just keep in mind, again, we're a company of 5 people. We don't have a big customer support staff. We don't have a big budget. You guys may not realize this. Maybe I'm giving away too much information, but Apple doesn't pay for 45 days. So we actually haven't seen really any money from the app. So everything we've been doing now, the hundreds of thousands of dollars that have been spent and we continue spending to keep it up, we haven't seen any of that yet. Now, obviously, we're going to have revenue coming in and that sort of thing. And then we can start hiring people and really implementing more stuff. But we're as far as companies go, we're not a big company. I know the app looks really refined and kicks the crap out of a lot of apps out there that are with big companies, but we're a mom and pop shop, basically. It's just 5 people. We're doing it all ourselves. So we do want to incorporate a lot of this stuff, but these things may seem simple, but a lot of times it's a lot more complicated in the back end. I'm sure Sarah, who's a developer, can comment on it. It's not as simple as you guys probably think, but we're going to continue improving it. And in a year, this app is going to be completely different in terms of it's going to bring even more value and be even way better. We want people to think, when they think, affordable automated nutrition coaching, they think Carbon. Carl Dez says, great app. Thank you. I know, actually, Carl Dez, you had some criticisms for us in the Facebook group initially, so I'm glad to hear that you're really enjoying it. Just out of curiosity, could you show us the very first prototype of what it looked like? I'd love seeing how it's grown. No, it'd be embarrassing. It'd be like showing naked pictures of you when you were a baby. Side note, Jen says, myglutenfactory.com literally got me two amazing bands in 2 days, and they are so great, especially for moms who are busy. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Jen. I know Holly will love hearing that. Is there an option to not have your calories and macros change on your check-in day, even if you did not lose the expected amount of weight? No, we don't have that option. What I would recommend is that if you don't want that to happen, go and adjust your rate of loss and make it more conservative. About to take the plunge with the app. Can't wait to get started. Been using MFP forever. Awesome. Thank you so much. Given that there are often mismatches between the macros and calories, why not ignore the calories from the Fat Secret API and internally calculate the calories from macros? Great question, and this is something that we have had a lot of discussion on. So we are considering that. The problem is that we know people, and some people, they'll, like, for example, let's say we do that. So we make it so the calories aren't reflective of the Fat Secret API, which is the database we use. Because when you use the calories and macros from the database, they never match up, because food companies are allowed to round up and down to the nearest 10-calorie increment. So over the course of time, if you have 20 foods in for a day, you can have quite a bit of variance between your calories and your macros. What we could do is internally, we could hide the calories from the Fat Secret API, and we could put up the calculated calories from the macros. Here's the problem with that. If we do that, like, let's say you scan a food and you can see on the package it says 500 calories, but you scan it and it comes back and it says 467. Then we're going to have people submitting support tickets saying, well, I scanned this food and it doesn't match, and this app is garbage. So we are considering it. We're trying to figure out how to implement it without getting even more support tickets, because a lot of these things, you guys have to understand, a lot of these things, we're also thinking about what can eliminate or reduce our support tickets, because that takes up a large amount of our day. And a lot of what keeps us from being able to move forward is just dealing with support stuff. So, and I'm not saying that you guys shouldn't submit support tickets. Like, that's how, we engage with our audience and we help. But we're trying to figure out how to minimize those. And if we institute a function, even if it's good in theory, if it generates 1,000 support tickets because people, just like I mentioned, then it hurts us quite a bit. I'm losing fat, eating more calories. Awesome. Love the app. It's so awesome. Thank you. If we use our own custom macros, can we use the coaching part? No. If you use custom macros, it turns off the coach. There's no way to do both. If you want the coach to start with macros and are more specific to you, you can enter in manually your maintenance and it will calculate them based off your maintenance. But we don't allow you telling the macros that you want. At some point, if I'm non-compliant, would it ask what amount you were over or under by and calculate from there? Maybe. The problem is a lot of people, most people, when they're non-compliant, don't actually know what they ate over by. So that might be an option we give, but I don't think we'd make it mandatory, because otherwise some people just would not know. We're going to see recent foods by category instead of recently added. Guys, every time we've adjusted the recent foods, people complain. No matter what we do with the recent foods, it seems like we just get the same number of complaints. So we're probably just going to stick something and go with it, to be honest, because it seems like no matter what we do, everybody complains. You should start a Carbon app group. I think there's a lot of questions we all could help out with, etc. Yeah, we actually have one. Jen, if you search Carbon, hang on. I think I can put a link in as a comment. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to go to our group. How can let's see here, Carbon Diet Coach, leave this page, and copy, and Jen, it's going to be pasted in the comments, paste. And there you have it, Carbon Diet Coach group right there. You give them an inch and they expect a mile. I mean, I get it. I get it. Like, I don't want people to not, submit support tickets. Why is it recommended that we don't chop and change our fat carbs on the daily up and down? I talked about this right at the beginning because I would not allow that as a coach. It is not optimal, and therefore we're not going to allow it in the app. And at that point, the app is no longer coaching you. You are telling the app what to do. It is a coaching app if it should be used as such. Wife was so inspired by my fat loss, she bought the 6-month subscription. Wow, that's awesome. All right. Let's see. Let's look for some questions off of YouTube and Facebook. Will there be timestamps for the meal planning and recording? Love the app. I'm not sure about that. A couple people have asked me that. I'm not sure. I don't see the utility of that, but I guess some people do. I don't see the link in the comments. Oh, that's because that was on Facebook and Instagram. I'm sorry. Our Facebook group, you just go search Carbon Diet Coach, and our group on Facebook should come up. Does it use data from a fitness watch like Fitbit? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, and we will not until those watches get much more accurate. There was a recent study that came out on wrist-worn energy expenditure devices and found that those devices, the minimum they all overestimate how many calories you burn. The minimum overestimation was 30%. The worst was 100%, meaning if you actually burned 100 calories, what your watch told you was anywhere from 130 to 200. So no, we are not going to use those devices because they are ridiculously inaccurate and would give inaccurate data to the app this is also why MyFitnessPal telling you to eat back your calories is stupid. It's absolute stupid, because if you eat back calories you burn, it means you're actually eating back 30 to 100% more calories than you should be. It's because we do science. Yep, that watch told you burned 1,000 calories? Nah. Means you burned more like 700 to 500, 500 to 700. Sorry. But this is, how many people do you know? Be honest. And how many of you say, oh man, I'm eating, I can't lose weight. And, babe, can you turn that down? Yeah. Thank you, honey. How many of you are like, man, why can't I lose weight? But you're eating back the calories from exercise. Oh, there she is. That's why. That's why you're not losing weight. It's because you're eating back more calories than you're supposed to. Will we be able to add body measurements on any update? Yes, you can add body fat percentage as well as waist measurements. I've done that. I can't lose weight when I eat calories back. What if the goal isn't weight loss? It doesn't matter. If your goal is muscle gain, still, it means you're going to be eating back more calories than you should and more likely to gain excessive body fat. What is the meaning behind the name? So, I had a supplement company called Carbon, but we like the name because it's simple, and carbon is the basis for all life. And we feel like this app is going to become a cornerstone of the nutrition and diet industry. If we're working with one of the team byline coaches, should we do custom entry for macros and not use the coach? Yeah, just put in the custom macros and then you can use it as a tracker if you want. How do I modify my calorie intake on a specific day? In your main diary view, there just below your big circle, there is a little like it looks like a multi-bar graph on the right-hand side. Click it, and you can open up the calorie planner. Ooh. Love the group. This personal live time with you guys is amazing. Thank you very much, Tanya. Can I program the first week for maintenance and the second week forward for weight loss? Absolutely, Joe. Yeah, sure, certainly. You can screen share, I think, Lane. I don't know how to do that. Do we need to have a food scale? If you want to work it to work the best possible, yes, I would use a food scale. Let's see if I can find a few more comments off Facebook and YouTube. Guys, hit me with some hearts and some likes. It helps us get more engagement. Steven says, should I enlist the help of someone when using calipers to track body fat or do it myself? I've seen some people use others to help, but I'm wanting to get more readings on my body fat instead of once a month, since driving to get an in-body scan every day is inconvenient. You can do it yourself. I would just do it the same way every single time. And yes, your accuracy may be off here and there, but overall the precision, like let's say you're underestimating by 2%, based on where you're taking the reading. Well, even then, if you're underestimating by 2%, if you lose, 2% body fat, it's still going to show. Like you're still going to lose. You're still going to see the caliper measurements go down. So the relative change is going to be accurate, and that's what we really care about. People get all hung up in like their starting macros. They're like, oh, my macros look off. Guys, it doesn't matter if the app completely miscalculated. Like, let's say it just totally fucked up, which it doesn't. But let's just say it totally fucked up and calculated your macros extremely wrong. Right? Let's say it gave you way too low calories, right? Well, after a couple weeks of you losing weight really fast, it is going to jump your macros up to compensate for that. And you're going to get back to the point where you're losing weight at the appropriate rate because the app algorithm is going to adjust for that. So even if it screwed it up for a little bit, it's going to figure it out in the long term. So yes, using those calipers by yourself is completely reasonable. Or if you don't mind spending some money, you get somebody to help you. All body fat scales are affected by hydration. Every measure of body fat is affected by hydration. So pick something and stick with it and be consistent. Guys, body fat, pick a measure. Doesn't matter what it is. Stick with it. Be consistent. All right, let's see here. Trend on Instagram says we can share a screen. Okay, let me see here. I think I have one. So, okay, here you go. See that planner section right there? Oh, damn it. It went off of it. It's a video, so. Oh, God, that's loud. You guys are going to see the planner here in a second. Those of you on Instagram, I'm sharing a screen. So this is my check-in from yesterday. You can see how my check-in went. Complete check-in. So I'm going through my check-in here. Thanks, Trent, for that. So my reverse has been going really, really well. Look at my calories, up over 3,600 calories, maintaining my weight, which is sweet. How accurate do you think scales like Fitbit and Aria are to give body fat percentage? So here in the app, I'm adjusting my diet preferences. So my macros, I can adjust within a certain range. Guys, all body fat measurements are inaccurate. They all have some level of inaccuracy. Pick a measurement, do it consistently. Stop worrying about the measurement itself. So going to go back. Okay. So you're going to see here in a second. All right. Now watch. I'm going to go back to the main diary view here. Those of you on Instagram. And now I'm going to click the planner. There it is. So there's the planner where you can adjust your individual days. Yeah, that's it. So you can see me. You can adjust them using a slider, or you can adjust them by typing in the exact amount of calories you want. So there you go. So I'm using the slider, or I can just go in there and type in my calories. I've been eating 1 gram protein per pound of body weight, so 130 grams. It's recommending 105. I'm at 20% body fat. What are your thoughts? Well, if you want to eat more protein, simply go to the diet preferences setting, and you can have more protein. So that's that easy. If you want to do that, you can, but you don't need it. But if you want it, you can. Hey, let's see, my people on Instagram. How do I stop this thing? Let me see here. Okay. There we go. Sorry. Was that helpful, that screen share for you guys, so you could see a little bit more of the app? Anthony says, I've been on a company who shall not be named for years. I'm thinking of switching. What are the key differences between that and that other company? I would say that there's probably quite a few people who have been on my old company's website. If you guys are on here, would you mind giving your feedback on what the difference has been between that company and Carbon? I mean, we just showed you kind of a screen share, but I would say I can't speak to the back end of their site because it's been years since I've been involved in that. But from the feedback we've gotten from people is that ours is much easier to use, much more user-friendly, much more intuitive. Hunter says the interface is the biggest thing. So do you think it's better or worse, Hunter? And then I would say also it's an actual app. So theirs is a web app. So you have to go on. So Trina says the app is much more user friendly. You have to go to a website to use it. I believe they have a food tracker as well. I'm not sure if I think that's a web app as well. I'm not sure if it's a separate web app because I know for a while they had to use like the website and then they had an app. But you had to use them separately. So the tracker was separate from so everything is combined in ours. Everything's together. It's all in one app. It's native for Android and iPhone. It's all right there. Between Carbon and Thou That Shall Not Be Named, when you don't hit your weight target, the other company would crash your calories compared to Carbon. I'm glad. I don't know their back end, but I think one of the reasons that one of the things we did to try and smooth out our check-in progress, because we did notice that with the previous company I was with, that's one of the things I did notice. So one of the things we did do was instead of just using your last week and this week's check-in, we do take that information into account. But then the app algorithm also compares not just this check-in and last check-in, but it compares a number of previous check-ins and not only looks at what happened this week, but looks at the overall trend over the last month. And I think that makes a big difference because, for example, you could have been losing weight really, really well, right? And then all of a sudden you have a week where it doesn't go well, but it could, maybe, you just, who knows, right? But then all of a sudden the app drops your calories a bunch because in that 1 week it's looking at, it only sees that lack of progress. Whereas if you use, if you integrate in, previous check-ins as well, it can see, okay, we didn't lose as much this week as we should have, but over the last 4 weeks, the average has been good, really good. So we're not going to make any adjustments. So that's why we do it. Carl Dez says, having the app is a big plus versus website. I actually use the food tracker now. It's much easier. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Hunter says, Carbon is significantly better. The app is a huge plus. It fits into your life and doesn't take over your life. Cool. I mean, again, this is selection bias as well. I'm sure there's people who might prefer theirs as well. Obviously, I'm biased. But the thing to keep in mind is that, these are people who do prefer our app, which is why they're in this chat and that sort of thing. So it's more likely that people who prefer the app are going to be in this chat. So I understand there's some selection bias here. Norma says, is there any way we can try Carbon for a week without having to pay? I want to address this because a lot of people have actually left us real nasty remarks on the fact that they can't do a free trial. Here's why there's no free trial. We spent years working on this app and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And right now we haven't even been paid for it because, again, Apple is a net of 45, net pay of 45. So we've seen no money yet from it. If we offered a free trial, we would have tens of thousands of downloads. We're a small company. We only have 5 people right now. And at the moment, we haven't been able to hire support staff because we don't have the money for it yet. We will. We would generate tens of thousands of support tickets that we would not be able to handle. It would overload our system. And it would mean that our paying users would not get the good support that they need. So no, if we did that, it would actually demolish our company at this point in time. So I hope you understand. And I will say, I know that this is maybe a little bit unpopular, but it is $10 a month, canceled anytime. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to lose $10. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I would like to think that our myself, Holly, Keith, that our reputation speaks for itself. Hunter says, I'll pay for your first month. I'm confident you'll like it. Hunter, please don't do that. That's very nice of you, but I really appreciate that. Somebody was really giving it to me on it. To be clear, Norma, I'm not mad at you. You asked it in a very nice way. Somebody was really getting nasty with me on Instagram, and so I said, well, we do financing for $10 a month. Everybody's saying, everybody on Instagram saying it's awesome. Try it. You're not going to be disappointed. The app is amazing. I'm down 10 pounds and going for maintenance on a diet break. That's so awesome. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. Just so much support here. That's awesome. Thank you guys. Ben says, I love the app. I'm down 5 pounds. The calorie planner is incredible. If I'm unable to check in on check-in day, what's the easiest way for me to check in a day or two earlier? So if you pull up your coach feature a day or two before your check-in, you actually will have the option to check in early. So you can do that. That's awesome. Hunter is just an OG. Let's see. The food catalog and accuracy is the best I've seen out of the 5 apps I've used. Wow, thank you very much. If I've been using those who shall not be named for years and I never really found my maintenance, what would you recommend if Carbon puts my calories at a different level than what I've been taking in? I would recommend and by the way, if you've been using it for years, you should know your maintenance. That should be something that the app figured out for you. But anyways, if you haven't, it's okay. Just go with the macros that the coach gives you. If they're wrong and you, like, for example, like let's say your goal is fat loss. If they're wrong and you don't lose weight, it's going to adjust them down so that you do. If they're wrong and you lose too much weight, it'll adjust them up so that you stop losing weight so quickly. And over the course of time, it will tell you, I would not look at your maintenance calories, what it says your maintenance calories are for your first week, okay, or even your second week. After you've been using the app for a month consistently, it is going to give you a really accurate reflection of what your maintenance calories actually are. Jamie says, if you can spend $6 on a latte, then $10 for 1 month isn't bad. That's what went through my mind. Thanks. We appreciate that. Hunter says, my biggest happiness is the fact I'm 6'1", 195 pounds, and I'm eating 3,600 calories a day to lose 1.6 pounds a week. I mean, my God. Dude, you're eating as many calories as me, and I'm maintaining. Babe, do you hear this? Hunter is eating 3,600 calories at 195 pounds, and losing 1.6 pounds per week. Holly says she's jealous. Does the here we go. Question from Seth. Great question. Does the app take into account normal daily fluctuation in weight? Yes. So what you can do is you can actually enter your weight every single day. And this is what I recommend. Wake up, void your bladder and your bowels if you can, and then enter in your weight in the morning, first thing before you eat. And do that every single day. If you do that every single day or forever, however many days you do it, the app will automatically average your weights for the week. So it's not just operating based off one weight. It is going based off your average, which is much less prone to be volatile because you're taking into account those fluctuations. Hey, Anthony, even if you went from fat loss to reverse, based on how much weight you're losing or gaining versus the calories you're taking in, you should kind of know what your maintenance is. Just you supporting this app and answering my questions has me wanting to download and sign up. Thank you, Anthony. Really appreciate that, buddy. Hope you understand I'm not having a rip at you. I'm saying that I don't want to badmouth those who shall not be named. But I think that an app should give you some feedback kind of on what your maintenance should be. And maybe they do. Like I said, I haven't used their app in several years. Would you recommend tracking for a week on MyFitnessPal or other tracker to figure out your maintenance calories before starting with the app? You can, but you don't need to. Let's see here. Daniel has a question. What's the difference between those and who shall not be named? Daniel, I would answer your question, but we just literally covered this, and I don't want to spend the entire time doing it. But after this live is over, I would go back about to minute like 35, and we cover it pretty in depth. Appreciate it. And you can also read if you scroll and read the comments, people have left their comments of their experience using the different apps. Gina says, does the app take into account body fat percentage when calculating macros? Those are mostly based on weight. It does if you enter body fat percentage every week. The problem with body fat percentage is it's very volatile. It's more volatile than weight. And so if you enter in body fat, it will take it into consideration, but your weight is the stronger measurement that it's going to influence what happens with the app, because it's just a more objective measurement. Body fat is really prone. Like, I trust body fat over the course of a month, for example, like what's going on with it, but I don't trust it from week to week, and I definitely don't trust it day to day. If I take a break from tracking for a week to take a mental break, would I need to reset my macros, or should I just hit non-compliant? I would just hit non-compliant. Does the coach adjust your own custom macros after check-in as a starting point? If you select custom macros, it turns off the coach. Seth says, thanks for the response. I'm planning to get my wife set up later today. She's been eating in a deficit for years. Would a reverse diet method be the correct place to start with her? It just depends on what her goals are. But if she's been a yo-yo dieter for a long period of time, I would try to get her out of that mindset. And I think a reverse might be the right call. Wow, Norma just downloaded Paid for the Year. That was a good deal. Can't wait. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I hope you love it. Please go and join our Facebook group as well. That should be in your welcome email. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you. And if you have any questions, put them in the Facebook group. Also, guys, if you go to our support section on the website and on the app, we have a lot of support videos where we talk about a lot of frequently asked questions, so that can help. I've heard some people say the food tracking is the most accurate, but when I scanned a few items, the label was different than what was scanned. So I've had this too, but if you look at the food labels, What's happens is a lot of food manufacturers recently, the laws have changed and they have updated their sizing. So before it might have been like a serving size of 50 grams, and now it's a serving size of 60 grams. And so the macros, when you scan it, are different. But if you look at the serving size, the macros haven't actually changed. It's just the serving size is different. What's the leeway considered for compliance? When you check in, it will give you a range of macros for daily, and that will be your compliance range. Hey, Lane, when I check in, it asks if I'm close to my menstrual cycle. Should I say yes if I'm on my cycle? Say yes if you are experiencing weight fluctuation because of your cycle. So I know some women, when they're actually on their cycle, that they don't have, like, their weight comes back down. It's only just in the premenopausal phase. But other people, they get, symptoms all throughout. Just jumped up in to say I'm signed up and hyped. Thank you, Anthony. I hope you enjoy it, man. Love the recent video Holly did. Thoroughly answered my question. Awesome. Mike, that doesn't make sense. Food tracking app is better than MyFitnessPal or MyMacros Plus. Thank you. A lot of barcodes, almost all I scanned in Australia didn't work. They should be. We have the Australian database. I would log out and log back in. Sometimes that old information gets cached. We have had that. So log out, log back in. If you still are having problems, submit a support ticket. We can take a look at your account. Can you please explain how reverse diet works on the app? The app doesn't ask what our current calorie intake is. No, but there is, when you sign up or you go through the sign up flow, there is an option to enter in your maintenance calories if you know it. So if you know your maintenance calories, enter them in. Let's see. Ben says, I missed your physique science podcast. Will they ever make a return? Holly and I are starting a new podcast. It's called Beauty and the Geek. And we have about a half dozen episodes recorded so far. We're trying to get up to about 10 to 15 recorded, so we have some in the bank for when we travel and can't record them. So yes, we are going to try and bring back podcasts. If you're unable to track for a few days and hit non-compliant, will macros stay the same? Probably. But if you didn't track, hit non-compliant. Don't try to game the system. It is a coach. Let it do its job. Yeah, I would love to do a podcast earlier, but like, you guys, man, you really, I wish you guys knew how much we worked. It's really tough. Holly and I, even yesterday, were talking about just how difficult things can be for us, because we're around each other a lot, but we hardly ever get quality time with each other just because we're working so much, because we want to make this so good for you guys. So I'm not saying that to whine or complain, but just when you say things like, oh, I wish you guys do a podcast, I wish we had more time for it. Like, we're so busy. And then, we have kids too. So it's tough to keep up with. It really is. We do our best. We're trying to provide as much value as we can. Thanks for answering all these questions. I really appreciate the plant-based option. Looking forward to using the app. Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate that. Is there a European or German database of food on it? Not at the moment. We have UK, Australia, Canada, and USA. If you can't find a food, you can enter in a custom food. And keep in mind, it will still find all like generic foods like rice, milk, eggs, etc. And in the future, you will have, sorry, my brain just didn't work right there. You can add custom foods. And so like if it's specific to your country, add a custom food and then it's there forever. So you don't have to enter it again. I used to work for a fitness food tracking software company. I know how much work goes into creating a good app. Thank you. You guys are a fountain of knowledge and we just want to know everything there is to know. We try. We don't, like a lot of people, when they have knowledge or they have stuff, they want to keep it a secret. They don't want to give it to people. We want to help. Like we want to help. Look, listen, I'm not going to lie. We want to make a lot of money, but only because we provide a lot of value. And somebody was just talking about this earlier today. Somebody said, you know what? Integrity wins out in the long run. Because I did a video on Vincent, I don't know, V-Shred. And this guy's making millions of dollars. Thomas DeLauer, these guys making millions of dollars. And like we make a good living, but we're not rich. And, you know, I've been doing this for 20 years and have been authentic 20 years. I can honestly say I've never lied or distorted research data to try to sell somebody something. And it can be very discouraging sometimes to see how much money people make just selling horseshit and being like just pieces of shit, to be honest. But we are in this company with, you know, myself and Holly and how we feel about how we do business and ethics, and Keith and our development guys, because we all believe in the same thing. We want to create something that is helpful for people and that is life-changing. We want to provide a great value, and we hope that if we do things the right way, that over time the money will take care of itself. So it's been a good start. We appreciate everybody's support. It's been actually an amazing start in terms of how many people have signed up for the app. Love the app. Will it recommend cardio or just continue with diet adjustments? If we want, that is such a difficult thing to assess, possibly in the future, but that is a whole other ridiculous layer of complexity. It is so much more complex than you can possibly imagine. And it would have meant that if we waited for that, the app would have come out 2 years from now. Somebody says, I like it better than the RP diet app. Awesome. I've heard good things about the RP app. I think it's a little bit more rigid than ours is. It's kind of eat these foods at these times, that sort of thing. We wanted to make ours much more flexible, but I have heard good things about their app as well. Will you save this live? I missed most of it. Yes, I will. Ben says, the amount of effort you guys and Team Carbon have put into this has shown tremendously. Thank you. Yeah, we also, babe, how late do we stay up every night answering questions? Well, yeah, we're like, Holly and I are just in bed getting ready to go to sleep and we're just answering questions like the whole time. And then we like cuddle for about 30 seconds before bed. Yeah. I was like trying to cuddle Holly this morning and whoop, out comes the phone. And here she goes answering questions. Jen says, I wasted money on Katie Hearn's stupid challenge. It only taught me to eat in a deficit and work out a shit ton. But when I hit my goal, I didn't know how to maintain. She doesn't teach that. Money lost, but I learned a tremendous lesson. Yeah, we don't want to just give you guys a fish. We want to teach you how to fish. Please keep your mission and values the same. I used to, I love the guys at Mind Pump, and people got to make money. But I haven't seen them do anything unethical. And they've always treated me really well. All right, guys, I think we're gonna cut it off there. We had a lot of questions. Guys, please go check us out. Our app is Carbon Diet Coach, available in the App Store and on iOS and Android in the Google Play Store. If you guys love the app, please go and leave us a nice review in the app stores. That helps a ton. We've had some trolls in there leaving some negative reviews. So if we could get some positive reviews, that would really help us out. We got 4.7 stars right now, which is awesome. But if you guys could go put in a few more, that would be great. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. We're exhausted, but hey, babe.
Hey guys, where's the camera? There's like 17 cameras.
It's right here. It's right here.
Hello.
Oh, look at her. And she's now you guys' view just got way better.
Cool. I come in the last 2 minutes after you do this one. Yeah, dittoing what he said. It's been really awesome to see the really good comments that have come through on the App Store so far. So if you want other people to be able to have the same experience as you and achieve their fitness and physique goals, those reviews mean everything. Think about how many times you go to buy something and you see a negative review and you're like, oh no. So positive reviews are gold. So get on it.
Everybody's like, hi, Holly.
Hello, hi guys. I'm going to go. I'm like sitting here listening in the background. All right, I'm going to go through it.
All right, babe. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And we'll catch you next week. Okay.